Hello, everybody from Pokemon 24/7. This is Shuey giving you a deck profile of my Charizard deck. It's a little bit of my own creation mixed with a little bit of ideas from other people, but this is the way I like to run it. It's got a lot of spice to it, and it works out pretty well for me. I'd like to start off with the 3-1-3 line of Charmanders, Charmeleon, and Charizard. I have two different Charmeleons in here. It's good to have a lot of variety of different basic Pokemon. And then with Charizard, his Infernal Rain, once you evolve that Pokemon from the Charmeleon or the Charmander, whichever way you decide to do it, search your deck for 3 fire energies and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. And then he has Burning Darkness, which does 180 plus 30 for each prize card your opponent has taken. So if your opponent has taken quite a few prize cards, you're going to be doing quite a bit of damage to his attacking Pokemon. Then I like to go with the two line of Pidgey and Pidgeot EX. Again, 2 different types of Pidgeys, different attacks. With Pidgeot EX, his ability is Quick Search, where you search your deck for 1 card and put it into your hand, and you can use that once per turn, which is very helpful in the game. Then I go with a Radiant Serena. The Radiant Serena is not really an attacker. It's more my healing Pokemon with Elegant Heal. It can heal 20 damage from each of my Pokemon, and that can really help later in the game when your Pokemon have more than 1 damage counter on it. Then I like to run the Entei V. A lot of people don't run an Entei V in this deck, but I like to run the Entei V because of his ability of Fleet-Footed. Once during my turn, I can draw a card. And then he also has Burning Rondo, which does 20 base damage, and then 20 for each damage or each bench Pokemon that I have, plus what my opponent has. So it can be doing quite a bit of damage if you think about it. Then I like to run a Lumineon. The Lumineon is basically for one reason, and that's to get my supporter out. With Lumineous Sign, when I play it from my hand. So I have to play it from my hand. I can't play it with a nest ball or something to that extent. I have to play it from my hand. I can search my deck for any supporter and put it into my hand. Some people will put a Rotom in this deck. I don't like to run a Rotom in this deck because I'm already getting energy acceleration from the Charizard. I'm getting the quick search from the Pidgeot. I'm getting the draw support from the Entei. So having a 2 prize liability where I can use instant charge and then my turn ends, not really helpful in this deck when I can use Entei to just draw a card and my turn will not end. That's basically what I run for Pokemon. Going into trainers, I like to run 4 rare candies. The reason I run 4 rare candies is that'll help me get my Pidgeots from Pidgey, and it also helped me get my Charmander to Charizard. Very helpful. That's why I usually only one Charizard or 1 Charmeleon versus running 3. Then I like to go with 2 Ultra Balls. That'll also help me get the Pidgeots, the Charizards, the Entei, the Lumineon. It's very helpful in getting the evolution Pokemon cards. If I'm really in a bind, I could go for the basics, but to get the higher HP cards versus the lower ones. I won 1 Buddy Buddy Poffin. The Buddy Buddy Poffin, basically what you do for the Buddy Buddy Poffin is you choose 2 Pokemon, basic, that have 70 HP or less. Now, choosing the Charmander or the Pidgey would be the best option in there. Pretty much the only 2 options you can choose. Then, I like to run 3 Nest Balls. 3 Nest Balls, search your deck for a basic Pokemon, put them on your bench. You do have to have a bench spot available. Now, when you're using the Nest Ball, the Lumineon would not be the card to choose with a Nest Ball, because this goes straight from your deck to your bench. Lumineous Sign would not work because you're not playing it from your hand. Now the disruptors. I like to run 4 bosses orders. That can disrupt your opponent majorly. You could bring out any 2 prizer, any 3 prizer, any Pokemon that is causing you disruption. So you can go with 3, you can go with 2. I usually go with 4 because it's a lot easier. Going with 3 switch cards. Now the switch cards allow me to bring any basic Pokemon from the active spot back to my bench, and then I also heal 30 damage from it. Really helps with the Entei or the Luminion or even the Serena if I do decide to throw the Serena out there as a stall. Now, I can't use the switch cards on a Charizard or a Pidgeot or anything like that. That's why I also like to run 3 switch. Those will also help me get the Charizard EX out there if he's already ready to attack, or the Pidgeot. Could throw him out there right away. 2 Arvins. Running 2 Arvins in the deck allow me to search for an item and a Pokemon tool card. So if I need to search for a rare candy or an Ultra Ball or a Nest Ball or something to that extent, I can do that. Then I like to run 2 Ionos. Again, Disruptors. Iono, each player shuffles their hand, puts it at the bottom of the deck. They draw as many prize cards as they have left. You have 5 prize cards left. You shuffle your hand, put it at the bottom of the deck, draw 5 cards. Kind of get your hand back to what it needs to be if you need a new hand. I like to run 2 stadiums. They're the only 2 stadiums that usually would go with this deck. It's a magma basin. What you do is you take a fire energy from your discard pile, attach it to one of your fire Pokemon. If you do, put 20 damage counters on it. So he's got the 20 damage counters on it. You can only use it once per turn. You just use Radiant Serena's ability to heal the 20 damage you just put on that Pokemon. Then I like to go with a Trekking Shoes. Trekking Shoes, what you do is you draw the top card of your deck. If you do not like it, then you just discard it and draw another card. Professor's Research, it's always a good card to have. It's always good to, if you have maybe 1, 2 cards in your hand, you discard it and draw 7 new cards. It does count as your supporter card, but it does help you if you need to get a new hand. Excuse me. Then, I like to use a Mela. Mela is a new card that just came out in the Paradox Rift set. What you do, you can only use this card if your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn. You attach a basic fire energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. It can be any Pokemon. If you want to attach it to Pidgeot EX, you can go ahead and do that. If you did attach a fire energy to your Pokemon this way, draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. So if you have 1 card in your hand, you get 5 new cards to go with it. Next, I like to run a Super Rod. Super Rod, it'll help you get Pokemon or energies back into your deck. Very, very helpful if you lose a Charizard or a Pidgeot EX early in the game. And put them right back in there along with energies. So you can choose any combination of 3 Pokemon and energy cards to put back in the deck. Probably the best attachment, I think, is the Forest Sealstone. This I can get out with Arvin. Having the Forest Sealstone, you attach it to a Pokemon V. That is also why I have Entei and Luminion in this deck, because you can only attach the Forest Sealstone to a Pokemon V. What you do is you flip your V-Star token, search your deck for any card, and put it in your hand. You do not have to reveal it. So your opponent doesn't know what you're getting from the Forest Sealstone. Then I also like to go with an Experience Share. The Experience Share I can put on any Pokemon. If a Pokemon gets knocked out or I decide to retreat a Pokemon, a Fire Energy or any energy from that Pokemon, I can move to whichever Pokemon this Experience Share is attached to. Final supporter or trainer that I have is the new A-Spec Prime Catcher. What a Prime Catcher basically does is you choose one of your opponent's benched Pokemon and you switch it with their active Pokemon, and then you switch your Pokemon. So if you have somebody that has a 1 prizer out there and you want a 2 prizer out there to knock out with Pidgeot or Charizard or whoever, bring it out with the prime catcher. You can only have one ace spec in the deck, so that's in there lies the problem. You can only have one ace spec, but the prime catcher is very helpful. And then finally, just the energy count. There are 13 fire energies in this deck. You could probably run it with 11 to 12. I like running it with 13 just so I don't run out of energies. Sometimes you will run out of energies, but in this case, 13 energies for me works very well. So this is how I run my Charizard deck. If you like this, go ahead and like it, subscribe, comment, however you like. If you have ideas that you think would work better in this deck, go ahead and give me those comments. Next video will be posted tomorrow. It will be Mike, and he will be doing his Dialga V-Star build with the Metang. Thank you, and I hope you have a great night.